In my restless dreams, I see that town. Silent Hill. You promised you'd take me there again someday. But you never did.
At this point, we're basically just 2 weeks away from the release of Silent Hill 2 Remake. And as the date gets closer and closer, people's anticipation rises higher and higher for multiple reasons. Some are waiting to put their hands on it and play it, while others are curious about how it will perform commercially and whether it will succeed or not. This makes sense because since the game was revealed, we had two groups of people showing up. We have gloomy ones that are saying it will fail regardless, it's not needed, and it will never come close to the original. And you also have the ones who are very optimistic, saying it will be the game of the year, and they'll play it day and night because they have been waiting for anything Silent Hill since forever. However, when you think about it, you can actually see that both sides can be right to a certain degree. The remake literally has the potential to be a huge success, and even the best-selling game in the franchise's history. But at the same time, a few mistakes can also lead it to an absolute failure and make it a flop in a harsh market that doesn't tolerate anything less than perfect. But since optimism is needed in this kind of situation until we play the game ourselves, I decided to make this quick video to highlight several reasons why the remake might actually be a success, and an experience that can resonate with many people. So, without further ado, let's start. One of the biggest challenges when trying to make a successful game is composing an interesting story and environment that can help the game stand out and force people to see how the experience is unique and unlike anything they played before. And when it comes to this aspect, Silent Hill 2 is the undisputed champion. The original Silent Hill 2 is already widely considered one of the greatest horror games of all time, mainly for its psychological depth, atmosphere, and narrative. So the remake has a strong foundation to build upon, capitalizing on the original's legacy while adding some tweaks only when it's needed. I mean, think about it. We already know that the protagonist is likable and special because everyone knows James's personality and they've been studying his character for the last 20 years. We also already know that the environment is insanely enticing because Silent Hill Town is basically more popular than 99% of the actual towns in the real world. People are dying to live a journey inside it again, and they know very well how spooky it can be. And on top of all of this, the fact that people now are aware of how deep the story is means that the remake has an even bigger advantage than the original. Because in 2001, people didn't understand the full profound purpose of every event until they finished the game and tried to piece the hints together.
I'm James. Angela, okay. I don't know what you're planning, but there's always another way.
So 23 years later, in a time when hundreds of videos analyzing the story are all over the internet, and players are writing theories across social media, it makes sense to believe that the story now is way more popular and widespread than the early 2000s. So even people who didn't play the original were also exposed to what made the story powerful, and how the psychological side can outshadow the clunky combat and the weird mechanics in some sections. So with this kind of basis and built-in components, I really don't know how Bloober can mess things up.
What is this?
When we talk about Silent Hill 2 and its popularity, don't ever underestimate the power of nostalgia and the number of older gamers who are interested in its revival. The original game holds a special place in the hearts of millions of gamers who grew up with it, and the remake offers a chance to revisit the iconic story and characters, reviving the emotional impact of the OG experience. In fact, this is why the main audience of the game today are people who are in their 30s and 40s, which is also reflected in the demographics of people who watch our Silent Hill videos. According to our channel's analytics, 30 and 40 plus year olds are the most people who watch this kind of video, which shows that their connection to the game really stood the test of time, and they didn't forget it after 2 decades. So, in my opinion, nostalgia is another element that has a substantial role in boosting the remake's possible customers and making it a commercial success. If there's 2 things that the new developers need to change and upgrade in order to improve the game, it has to be the visuals and the gameplay mechanics. Considering that the original was released 23 years ago, there's no question that visuals are not its best feature in 2024, and we can say the same thing about the combat mechanics and the limits of exploration. But if we're being honest, what we've seen so far in the remake's gameplay footage screams that everything is getting more polished, even better than we thought. I was genuinely blown away by the level of detail and beauty in the town's recreation for the remake. The realistic fog, combined with elements like falling leaves, wind effects, and reflections on cars and water, truly exceeded my expectations. On the other side, combat here is not the best in survival horror in general, but it's definitely a big step forward compared to the original, and gets the job done without making the experience lean towards the action side too much. We can also see there's more emphasis on investigation here because the world is bigger and there are more areas to explore that we've never seen before. This explains why the remake will take you more than 16 hours to finish, and the enemies are in completely different places that you can't expect even if you played the OG. So I have a feeling that the developers knew very well where they should add their touches to bring the game to the current generation while keeping the core alive. Even though I said that the visuals and the gameplay mechanics are the only elements that the developers should improve and upgrade, I was actually surprised by the additional tweaks that they've done, and I believe they will benefit the experience a lot. The first tweak is changing how the save points work, which is really suitable for a terrifying town like Silent Hill. It was already scary in the original when we used to see a photo of James in the background, but it's 10 times scarier in the remake when you see disturbing footage of James in real time. It looks like VHS footage, and someone is watching it from the other side, as if save points represent the eyes of the town, and they're watching you all the time. I mean, don't forget that Silent Hill Town is supposed to be alive, and it's meant to manipulate you and influence your mind. So it's really cool to add this creepy scene to confirm this idea. The second amazing tweak is the option to play without UI, which is seriously how the best survival experience should be lived. Removing UI means that you'll be forced to use your own eyes even more to see if there's something that you should pick up or a place you should go to. You also need to focus on James's behavior to understand if he's seeing a weapon or a tool to pick up. I really love this so much, and I'm personally planning to play the game this way. The third tweak is playing with a 90s filter on, which means that you can experience the game as if the story is in the 90s, and you're living through it in that same generation. This is mostly to escalate the oppressive atmosphere, and give you the vibe that you're really in hell and nothing peaceful around you. So if we take all these side elements into account, I believe we might discover more similar stuff when we play the game, because the developers are trying to impress us using all means necessary. If you think about it a little bit, you'll find out that there's no better time for Silent Hill to come back as a franchise than now. The horror genre in the last 10 years has been flourishing like never before, and ironically, the cancelled Silent Hills played a huge role in this. The cancellation of the last Silent Hill game left a void that literally made people obsessed with searching for anything like it or seeing it come back at some point. As a result, indie developers have been unleashed in the past decade like crazy, and they've been competing on who can replace PT in any way possible. Many of them failed, but some of them gave us genuine, incredible experiences like Visage and Madison, which became widely popular despite their limited resources. At the same time, Resident Evil has been releasing banger after banger in the remakes department, and I can assure you that Konami was watching in silence, crying in the corner over how much they missed, and the wasted potential of the Silent Hill franchise that they have, and they've been keeping on the shelf.
People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back!
They definitely saw how the market is hungry for horror games in both the survival and psychological fields. And they said, wait a second, we literally have one of the best psychological survival games of all time. Why the heck are we not taking advantage of this? So believe it or not, I actually think Konami is serious about making a strong comeback in the horror field, and it's not because they love the genre or anything, but because they simply know how the horror market has grown recently and how Silent Hill is still relevant and popular despite its absence. This explains why they suddenly unleashed their resources to create several Silent Hill games, including Silent Hill F and Silent Hill Townfall, which might come out in 2025 and 2026 respectively. Anyway, I think I said all what I needed to say for today. I wanted to make this video to express my feelings about why I believe the remake has a chance to be a success despite the mountain of challenges. I know some of you might disagree, and I completely respect that. The beauty of gaming is that it has space for all kinds of opinions and tastes, and none of us is necessarily wrong. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and see you very soon.